Welcome to the first video of the Not So Special Teams YouTube channel. My name is Caleb Brickers, and today I'll be walking you through the Dallas Cowboys offseason overview. First, let's talk about the positional needs. The Cowboys need safety, linebacker, edge, cornerback, and offensive tackle. At safety, Donovan Wilson and Malik Hooker both performed pretty horribly last year. Hooker being 64th out of 91 safeties per PFF, and Wilson being 83rd. Donovan Wilson is also a free agent. They have a lot of needs to fill at that safety position. Linebacker looks even worse, with Kenneth Murray Jr. being a free agent and being the 86th linebacker ranked out of 88. Shamar James, their rookie, also performed pretty poorly last year, um, being 84th out of 88. Uh, James showed a lot of flashes last year, but he won't be the starter they need him to be without developing a lot going into this next season. At edge, the Cowboys are losing Jadeveon Clowney, who was a starter slash rotational piece, a very big role on that defensive line this past year. They will also be losing three depth pieces, so they have a lot of positions to fill in this upcoming year at the edge position. For cornerback, they'll be losing three depth pieces, and Siobhan Revell started last year, but was ranked 112th out of 112 corners. So being the very worst corner per PFF. Um, I think Revell could be a great starter. He just played on injury last year, and will need time to develop into the player that he needs to be. And then at offensive tackle, both the Cowboys tackles didn't do great. Tyler Guyton being ranked 66th out of 84 offensive tackles. Um, Not a starting tackle per PFF. And Terrence Steele was 51st out of 84 tackles. So they could definitely upgrade at that tackle position. Also, Terrence Steele is running out of contract years and is expensive for the Cowboys. If they could get a replacement at that spot, that would free up a lot of money. Some free agents that the Cowboys should target are re-signing George Pickens and Jadeveon Clowney. I think both of them were great starters last year, especially George Pickens, and they could both play big roles on this team. And then if the Cowboys don't get Jadeveon Clowney, I think Jalen Phillips at edge and Joey Bosa would both be great fillers for that edge need. Um, they both did really good last year, and um, they would be expensive but worth it for the Cowboys. And then at cornerback, Jalen Watson, Jamel Dean, and James Pierre were the three that I picked out. Jalen Watson and Jamel Dean had great years last year, um, and have been good for years. So I think they both are great and would be amazing starters straight away for the Cowboys. And then James Pierre had an insane year last year. And I'm not willing to bet on him being a starter immediately for the Cowboys, but would be a great depth piece and probably be a little bit cheaper than the other two. Rasheed Walker is the only offensive tackle prospect that I picked out. Um, I don't think that any tackles in this class are really, in this free agent class, are really worth spending top dollar for. So Rasheed Walker, probably not able to get him on a cheap enough contract, and I doubt that the Cowboys would actually pick him up. But he would perform better than either of the two tackles that we have right now. Um, for linebacker, I picked out five: Devin Lloyd, Demario Davis, and Bobby Wagner all kind of fit the same um, blueprint of older linebackers who have been great at the position for a while. And I think any of those three on a shorter deal would be great. Maybe you could give Devin Lloyd a longer deal, um, but those would be great veteran moves right now. Um, and then Devin Bush and Leo Chenal are a bit younger, and I think they both have very bright futures, especially Devin Bush. Coming from the Browns, he just had two back-to-back really good linebacker years. And Leo Chenal has been a solid starter since he was drafted for the Chiefs. Um, so I think all five of those are amazing linebacker pickups. And I would love all of those free agent signings. For the safety position, um, Brian Cook from the Chiefs played really well last year. Um, and he is pretty young. Cameron Curl kind of fits the same vibe from the Rams. Both had really good years, and it would be great safeties for the Cowboys. Kevin Byard, on the other hand, is a veteran. He's much older, but has been good for years. He's super solid, um, plays the safety position at a excellent level, and would be perfect for this scheme. Um, I think Jalen Hawkins would be a great either depth piece or starter that we could develop. He showed a lot of flashes this year and performed really well for the Patriots. I think he's a great person to look out for, and maybe on a cheaper contract. And now let's talk about some draft scenarios. This first draft scenario is where it gets the Cowboys pick at 12, and there's really nobody on the board that they want to force. Um, I feel like if they're going to draft anything with that pick, they with the 12th pick, they want to draft a corner, a linebacker, or a safety, and one that really deserves to be picked at that spot, one that shows enough promise as a prospect. And in this case, none of them were there at that spot. I think the Cowboys should push this down the board, push their picks down the board to try and pick up more draft capital. Um, because not having a second or third round pick may come back to bite the Cowboys with how many positional needs they have. So in this case, I traded back with the Browns and picked up 24 and 39 for 12. Um, the Browns traded up to get Francis Mauigoa, um, and the Cowboys drafted with their 20th selection Mansour Delane, the cornerback out of LSU. I think he played great last year. Um, he shows promise, extreme promise in any passing scheme. He could play zone, he can play man exceptionally well and would be a great man corner. But he doesn't want to attack the runner in the run game. And he kind of just he stays on blocks and really doesn't participate in the run, which I don't love. But that's okay. If he's going to be a great um, coverage corner, I'm cool with that. And then CJ Allen, I think he pushes downhill really quickly. He is amazing in the pass. He shows a lot of flashes. I think my only problem with CJ Allen is he struggles to finish plays. He misses some tackles, misses some sacks. Um, but other than that, he is great all around. Dylan Thieneman from Oregon is the perfect strong safety fit that we need. He goes everywhere. He attacks the ball carrier and is great in run defense. Okay, in the second draft scenario, at pick 12, instead of trading down, we found Caleb Downs. If Caleb Downs is at this pick, I think he's completely worth it. He can do everything that you would ask a strong safety to do. You could even move him to nickel. You can move him to free safety. He can play almost anywhere in the secondary. Um, and then at pick 20, Jermod McCoy is a great cornerback out of Tennessee. He didn't even play much in this 2025 season, but in 2024, he was an elite cornerback. And he's had a lot of time to recover from his injury earlier this season. So I think if he passes his physicals, we should definitely take him if he falls to 20. Okay, in this third draft scenario, we pick Sonny Styles with this 12th pick. I think this is a really good pick because Sonny Styles is an amazing, versatile, and athletic linebacker. I think he fills a huge need for this Cowboys team, and he shows a lot of promise in developing because he was a safety just a few years ago. Um, Last year, he barely missed any tackles, just like one or two. Um, However, that was one of the issues going into the year. So I think he's developing at an insane rate, and would be amazing for the Cowboys. Um, at 20 here, Francis Moraga um, falls, and I'm not sure if this will happen in real life. Uh, with Caleb Lomu and Caden Proctor both being picked ahead of him, I think that's unlikely. But if it does happen, we should definitely jump on the chance to get him at 20. I think that is huge. If he's not there at 20, I wouldn't be opposed to the Cowboys drafting Monroe Freeling because he's also a great tackle prospect. But I wouldn't love the idea of Caden Proctor or Caleb Lomu getting picked at 20. And that is it. That is the end of this first video. Thank you guys for watching, and please tune in to the next one.